Hello, my beauties. So this is going to be a bit of a less scripted talk. I've sat down and put on paper a couple times, but I think it's just better if I go off the cuff on it because it is something I've wanted to talk about for a while, because it's something I don't see other people talk about much, and I'm sure you've heard that about a million other things a million other times, but I'm telling you, this will be worth it. And that's maintenance. So how often do you hear people talk about maintenance? The only time that I heard about maintenance in my beginner's journey was hearing about competitors finishing competing and then eating at maintenance. And I was like, what is that? It's kind of self-explanatory, but why does nobody talk about it? Because maintenance, most people are worried about the fat loss phase, the weight loss phase, the shrinking phase, or some people want to gain fat. They just overall want to change the size of their body. Okay? Whereas maintenance is when you keep your body at the size that it is. So I will tell you that the key. So once you're done with the fat gain or fat loss stage and you want to retain all of your progress, that is where maintenance comes in. Now, I want you, before you go anywhere, I want you to know that maintenance is extremely important to you now as somebody who's trying to lose or gain fat, because it's going to make the whole journey a million times simpler. Now, there's a lot of things that you kind of have to keep track of when you're trying to change your body composition, and the way to properly do that without getting lost in everything is taking where you are now and then taking where you want to be for maintenance and then taking steps between the two. You want to chop up where you want to be and where you are and chop up the steps in between into tiny bits so that you can take little chunk by little chunk to add on until you reach that final goal that you have set out for yourself. Why that is so important to do is because a lot of people don't recognize that anytime you make an adjustment to your diet or your lifestyle, is once you make that progress, you're probably going to have to do that same amount of activity or that same amount of eating or whatever you changed. It's going to have to stay that way for an extended period of time in order for you to keep those results. Your results aren't just going to stick around once you hit that point and then revert right back to eating the same and sitting on the couch and doing nothing all day. You have to continue doing what it takes every day to stay that way. And so you want to think about your maintenance first. You want to think about where you want to end up, because you don't want to stop. Your body is going to adapt every step of the way. So you need to make small enough changes that you're going to see results to keep yourself motivated, but space them out so that as your body adapts, you can continue to make those changes so that your body will continue to see those changes over an extended period of time. Otherwise, you're going to see results for a short period of time, and then you're not going to see those results anymore. And are you going to continue to work hard once you don't see results anymore? No, you're going to give up because it's hard. And if you don't see it pay off, you're going to start questioning, why am I doing this? And we want to ride that wave of motivation as long as we can. In order to do that, you need to implement changes that take place every 3 or 4 or 5 weeks. So instead of jumping straight to what you think you should be eating when you hit maintenance, you need to take where you are now, which is probably somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 calories a day, and chop down into 200 calorie increments over the course of 3 to 6 weeks until you reach that 2,000, 1,800, 1,700 calories. It all depends on how much activity you have per day. If you have more activity per day, then you can eat more. But if you don't have much, like I've learned from combined math and technology, like my Fitbit, which is charging right now. You can see my lovely line here because I wear it all the time, is that I only really burn maybe 1,600 calories a day on a day where I'm not exercising, I'm not doing much. When I'm just sitting at home doing virtually nothing, I only burn somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 calories a day. If I eat more than that, I'm gonna gain the weight. However, when I go to the gym for about 2.5 hours a day, that increases my calories to about 1,000. So as soon as I start going to the gym more, then the 1,700 or whatever calories that I eat is a deficit. But my activity level has been very regulated. It's taken a lot of time for me to find that sweet spot of where it's okay for me to gain muscle and lose weight. And it'll take you a little time to figure it out too. But once you find that secret sauce, man, what if you don't know what your maintenance looks like? I think if you're looking for your maintenance, you want to think about, I don't know, a lot of us have obsessed over that part, right? We know exactly what our goal weight is. We know whether or not we want to see our abs. We know whether or not we want to wear a bathing suit. Things like that. We very much have these emotional attachments to the outcome. So I think that you probably have a pretty good idea of where your maintenance is. And the food that you'll be eating is very much determined on how controlled you can maintain or how well you can sustain that controlled diet. The better you are at it, the smaller changes you can make, and the better you will be at teaching your body what you are and aren't willing to take away to lose. Because if you make those small adjustments, you'll still see results, and you'll be able to hold on to eating more over time, as opposed to somebody who makes big cuts over short periods of time, who's going to be eating less at the end. You got to be careful with the small increments, though. If you start too small, then you won't see your results. If you're not good enough at being very precise at what you eat and tracking it very well, then you will notice that you either won't see the scale move, or you'll see the scale go up slightly as you gain little bits of muscle, assuming you're a beginner at weightlifting. You don't have to do that. But you will gain muscle as you begin your weightlifting journey. If you used to weightlift back in the day, it's going to be easier for you to gain it back then. But newbies and experienced sedentary people will pick up muscle faster than somebody who's been weightlifting for the last couple of years. And that's fine. That just comes with the aging of your muscles, or maturity, I should say, because your muscles don't really like age per se, but they will mature. And the more mature your muscles are, the slower the mass will build, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just means that they're ripe. Maintenance is something that every person should be thinking about. For me, at first, my maintenance was like 160 calories, or 160 pounds. And I was so excited because I kept thinking all I had to lose was a couple, 20, 30 pounds to get there. But I kept making too big of changes, and then nothing was getting where I wanted it to go. So now all it takes is 150 calories or so, and then I can go for like 6 to 8 weeks on that. But it's because I've gotten better at meal prepping. And I will say this, if you haven't tried meal prepping yet and you haven't had success, that's why. It's one of those cliche things you're gonna get tired of hearing, but it's the reason these things are cliche is because they're true. It's a hard fact that I have come to accept, is that cliche things are typically true. If you found this to be helpful, insightful, or not, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. This might have been long-winded for what's in it, but I'm still getting better at talking about some of these things. I might do a more polished talk on it later. I do feel like I might have missed a couple things, but I got the gist of it. So thank you if you sat through and listened to this. I will have more coming soon. So have a great day. We'll see you soon.